Hi there. This is my Green Lantern Lego mock of the character Mogo. So I'm going to cut to the speed build process, talk about it a little bit more, and then we'll see some more sweeping shots of it inserted into the Green Lantern Lego mock. Catch you in the speed build. Here we are. So this was all based off of the Lego Globe set. I imported it into Bricklink's studio design program and rebuilt the entire set, then went through and changed the colors of all of the panels to the right color set for Mogo. I then also completely redid the land masses to create Mogo inspired by the original Dave Gibbons art from the very first Mogo story by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. This process took a long time. This was a 5-night build through 2-hour live streams. I'll put the links to those live streams in the description if you'd like to go check those out. For the long and dirty process, I was joined by my good friend Steve Baxey for that, so we kept it entertaining, hopefully. But yes, I went through and I remade the entire landmass of Mogo. I went through for a blue and white color scheme, again inspired by the original Dave Gibbons art and color choices from the very first published story. I had to adjust the build as well to create a full ring. In the globe set, it's just kind of a half ring, as you're kind of seeing right now. But I went through and modified the build to be a full circle, inspired by the look of Mogo from Green Lantern, the animated series. So yeah, we took 5 nights, 2-hour-ish build streams. Total build time was about 10 hours and 31 minutes, all things considered. I got most of the parts from Bricklink and Lego.com, as well as a website that may still be around called Bricknut. And so most of the parts here are used. There's a couple new parts here and there. And the idea was just to create a really, really extensive build of Mogo for my Green Lantern mock that is just expanding and expanding. We'll take a look at that later on here. Here you can see me building the equator section of Mogo. I did use, from the Bricknut website, I did use 2 or 3 pieces that are Go Bricks parts as opposed to Lego, because Lego didn't make them in the correct color, and I just decided that they were way too perfect a fit not to have as the perfect color. I've since gone through and added those pieces to a Bricklink list to see if I can get them to be, 100% pure Lego, since it is just a handful of parts. But yeah, it was a really, really fun build experience. Took probably about a year to collect all the pieces I would need for this. You can see in the middle there, I also made a Green Lantern ring to go inside Mogo. Maybe I should post that as just its own little rebrickable project or something. Though, yeah, it's not much to say on this point. If you really want like the full breakdown, you can go through and watch the live builds. But this was just an insanely fun project, and as soon as I saw the Globe set released, I kind of knew in the back of my head I wanted to make that Mogo. I did make a couple of modifications that we'll see when we go back to that rotating shot at the end here. I didn't like the gaps present in the original build, so I went through and got some of those plates with the little half step and inserted those into it. It did make it less stable. There is a reason that the designer didn't do it that way. But I've not got much of a problem with that. I preferred the fact that it would be a little bit more legal, a little bit more under tension, if it meant getting rid of the gaps between the panels of the globe. So I just like that a little bit better. I spent a long time, I had COVID like 2 years ago now, and so I was all alone in the house. I spent probably a whole day just going through all of my own Lego pile and finding pieces that would be on the inside of the build and wouldn't matter to try to save money, which is why you got a lot of like rainbow pieces when you look at the inside there. So that was a fun experience. But here we are, we're closing in on the end of the live build, speed build process, and it was just so much fun to do. I had to fiddle around with the build and take things apart and put things back together to get it clicked back in there. But there you go. You now see the full build. And here's the final build. As you can see, I've introduced those half plates I was talking about. I didn't mention during the live section, but there's also constructs that I created onto the ring of these green rock pieces that are meant to be asteroids. I love this up close. You can see all the river work I did with the transparent blue tiles. I loved the way that looked, as well as a couple pieces that are like eggs or splat pieces that I thought worked really well for lakes. Had a couple of hiccups between the design process in studio and the actual building process, but nothing too terrible. Those lake pieces were one of them. The connection wasn't 100% perfect, so I ended up having to scrap a couple pieces, but nothing terrible. Biggest problem I ran into was I did not do a good enough job separating out the pieces, so I often ended up looking for pieces that I already had because I wasn't sure if the green part I had was supposed to be used on internal brickwork or not, and yada yada yada. I was tempted initially to go through and like change some of this. There is a little bit more white on this build than I would like. Most of it's in the ring and you can barely see it, so I think I'd leave that alone. But if I ever get the chance, one thing I think I will update is if I can finish out the base and get rid of all the white in the base to just have it be pure green. My headcanon for how this fits into my Lego Green Lantern MOC is Mogo uses the power of the ring to decrease their size, to join the battle, as it were. So let's go over to the Green Lantern MOC. We'll do a couple shots of that, and that will be the end of the video. Thanks for joining. And here's our shot of Mogo in the MOC. Oh my gosh, this thing has just gotten massive, massive, massive. Nice big pan of it here. Just try to see everything, then we'll go into a more detailed shot that's a little bit more meandery, but my goodness, it's getting so big. And here we are at the end, the final shot of the MOC. My goodness, I just love looking at this all together. I did the math on this the other day, not in a major way, but the beginning of this MOC started about 15 years ago in 2011. I initially got just some bootleg Green Lantern figs shortly after the movie came out, and decided, it'd be cool to, build a whole build with just all the characters fighting each other, do kind of like a War of Light thing. And then slowly but surely I've just expanded on that year after year, just, fits and starts, introducing original Life on Mars sets, since that's my favorite theme from my childhood, and then just trying to do MOCs and use existing builds and stuff. I've gotten a lot better about doing completely original MOCs. That fish you see there is like just recoloring something similar to how I did with Mogo, but then like the robot in the background there, and Chalcyon, and just all the different character builds like this tower, those are all completely original. So just trying to do more with originality and providing just a ever expanding MOC, and it's gotten to the point where I have run out of room. I just tried to add something to it the other night, and I had to restructure and move around so much to try to add some more structure in the hopes that I'd be able to expand things by giving people more stuff to fly on top of, and I don't know if it's going to be good enough anymore. So we're dealing with all kinds of madness. There's Parallax and Sinestro, and there's Bleeze, and in the background there you can see Rotlop Fan, and there's the Ophidian the Tempter, the Orange Entity, and just trying to get as much stuff in here as I can, and it gets more and more expansive. And I still need to get an original set from the Life on Mars sets. Oh my goodness. But there's Mogo in the background, rounding it all out, shrunken down. And it's just such a fun build. I love looking at it all together. And there it is, the final shot. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if I should do any more featured videos detailing the individual parts of the Green Lantern MOC or any other LEGO stuff that you'd like to see. Thanks so much for checking it out, and just enjoy this final beauty shot of Mogo.